What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back for another Pokemon Challenge video. Today we're back on our mono-type wheel on Pokemon Radical Red 4.0, and today's wheel we're gonna get Galar. So we're actually winding down the wheel so far and we got Galar, and I kind of forgot about all the Galarian Pokemon, so I was like, you know what, I think this one might be the one that stumps me. And I was very wrong, so this is going to turn out to be the quickest time I've ever got on Radical Red 4.0 Hardcore mode. That's a surprising thing. So if you guys don't know what we're doing, we're on Radical Red, which is a harder mode of Vanilla Game Fire Red. A lot more difficult, and there's even a harder mode. You guys should know it by now. Anyways, besides all that, we're going to do a mono region, so we're going to use Pokemon from the specific region. We're going to use Galarian Pokemon, which is Gen 8 Pokemon, and they are pretty good. And besides that, we're going to add a fun rule on top of that. Each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop it in the comments and hopefully a pictures. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. To begin off, I chose the best starter Pokemon in Galar, which is easily Scorbunny. Scorbunny gets Cinderace, and Libero Cinderace is just completely broken. But before we get there, we actually catch a bunch of Galarian Pokemon, which are actually really good themselves. So we got a Galarian Ponyta, which was actually kind of cool when they had the trailer and they had it come out the forest. We also have Galarian Lanoon, Applin, Meowth. This is an all-star lineup. As we go through the forest and clear through it within like 5-6 minutes, so clear through the forest, get the infinite repels, and also make our way into Pewter City, which is really nice. We didn't get a really good Pokemon. We got Galarian Farfetch from the Egg Merchant, which is okay. It's a Galarian Pokemon. From there, we're going to beat down Falkner pretty easily, just to have access to the first gym in the game. You know, we had Sucker Punch at the start of the game with our reboot, so I think it's kind of showing how good of a Pokemon this thing is. From there, we're going to face off against Brock. We're going to start the battle off against Brock using my Galarian Farfetch that I just made fun of. But Farfetch is able to actually 3-shot down the Hippopotas for us, so we're going to take that. And from there, he's going to switch out into his Cacnea. I go out into my reboot, which is going to Fire Fang and one-shot the Cacnea super easily and get a nice Sucker Punch off against the Arcan. Unfortunately, he's going to knock me out, but lucky enough, I have a bunch of good Pokemon in the back. Go out to my Meowth to fake out into him, bait in the Vroom to break his air balloon, and then go out to my Scovet, which is the little squirrel thing. It's going to actually go down to the Vroom, which is fine. I do a lot of chip damage with it, though, as I go out to my Lanoon. Lanoon is able to chip down the leap and then go out into my Farfetch. I talk down to Farfetch a lot, but it's actually working out pretty well as he knocks out the leap for us, as his next Pokemon will be a Lunatone. I dodge his attack by going out into my Lanoon and then two-shotting him pretty easily. His next Pokemon will be his Arcan, which I sacrifice my Ponyta and go out into my Galarian Meowth, which will Metal Claw and knock him out, which is pretty easy. His final Pokemon will be a Vroom, which my Lanoon cleans up as we beat down Brock pretty easily. Get our first gym badge in the game, make our way into Route 4, which is going to be Mount Moon. There's not a lot of Pokemon we can catch out here for us as we head into Mount Moon itself, face off against the Scientist, clear down the Scientist, and then face off against Archer. Now Archer, super easy as well. Galarian Ponyta just clutched up as well, and from there that's gonna unlock a lot of things. Ponyta evolves, my Meowth evolves, and also we get the move relearner, which is really nice. So we're gonna get that Metal Burst on my Berserker, so watch out for that. As from there, we're going to move on into Cerulean City's gym and face off against Misty. We're going to start the battle off against Misty using my Galarian Rapidash, going for Hypnosis, and then immediately switching out, because I think this is the most important. Go out to my Orbeetle to catch the Clocksire, and then from there, I can Side Shock and then set up a Light Screen. I can switch out to anyone. I switched out into my Lanoon, which I think is pretty bad, so I Parting Shot out to go out into my Berserker to Metal Burst bait him, but Misty's too smart as she switched out to Ludicolo, and you know what? With the Light Screen, I made her survive a Skull from the Ludicolo and knock him out anyway, so we'll take that. As from there, Starmie's gonna knock me out as I go out into my Appletun, which will Mega Drain and then Dragon Breath into the Toxicroak to get paralyzed, which is really huge. I go out to my Luna to sag, then go out to my Orbeetle to set up Light Screen to dodge the Sucker Punch as well, and then Side Shock to knock out a Toxicroak, and then Side Shock again into the Mantine. It's gonna go down to the Mantine, but that's fine as I got a Greedent in the back. Bullet Seed into the Mantine to eventually knock him out, and also chip down a Starmie to low HP. Things are looking pretty good for us as I go out to my Rapidash. It's going to outspeed a Starmie pretty easily, knock him out, and then her next Pokemon will be a Clocksire. It's going to chip me down, eventually knock me out with a Bodos, but it's fine. My Appletun's in the back with Mega Drain to knock out the Clocksire, and also Politoed's asleep from the start of the battle. So we're ready to Mega Drain and then eventually knock out the Politoed as we beat down Misty. and from there we can make our way into the Nugget Bridge, clear through the Nugget Bridge pretty easily, and then from there we can make our way into the SSN, face off against all the trainers in here, which isn't too difficult, which will unlock the gym for us as we get the HM for cut, and then now we can face off against Lieutenant Surge. We'll start the battle off against Surge using my Cinderace, which is gonna just Pyro Ball and one-shot the Rotom Frost. Well, this thing's bullying. His next opponent is gonna be a Alolan Raichu, which I Pyro Ball again as he goes for a nest spot. It burns him and knocks him out. As from there, his next opponent will be a Mega Ampharos. I could have stayed in, but I decided to switch out into my Rapidash, dodge Dragon move, and then Covet into him to two-shot into him and knock him out. His next opponent will be an Electro, which, okay, he just knocks himself out with an explosion. I go out to my Cinderace next against his Polynut, which is a bad match. So I went out to my Applesauce to sack it, and then go out to my Greedent to counter and knock out the Polynut. From there, I sacrifice my Greedent and then go out into my Berserker to bait in the close combat from the Hitmonlee, and then Pyro Ball with my Cinderace. This thing is always going to be on my team. It's so good. Destroyed down Lieutenant Surge, and now we can make our way into the Rock Tunnel. The Rock Tunnel isn't too difficult as Berserker is just bullying everyone, and we can make our way into the next fights. We face off against the Sunny Day trainer and also the Hisuian trainer. I'm actually going to be honest, I know I say this every week, but the Hisuian run is going to be really difficult. I'm not too sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to have to try to figure it out. From there, Snom doesn't evolve when Ice Stone anymore, so I gotta just start massaging it, eventually evolving it through Happiness, and also getting Bottle Caps out in the wild with my Corviknight, and getting a Libero on my Cinderace. That's gonna be really good. As from there, we're gonna move on and face off against Erica next. Erica's the 4th gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Berserker. Berserker gets 2 back-to-back flinches. Didn't even plan this, so that's pretty free. As from there, we knock out the Cradily. Her next opponent will be a Toxicity. Actually stayed in and went for Metal Burst and knocked out the Toxicity. Her next opponent will be Kartana, which I decided to finally switch out to my Corviknight. Corviknight is going to Drill Peck into the Kartana, eventually chip him down, and then go out into my Grimmsnarl to fake out and Sucker Punch. It doesn't kill, but she's going to knock out my Grimmsnarl, and the Life Orb is going to knock out the Kartana, so we'll take that. As from there, we're going to move out into my Rapidash. Rapidash is able to Hypnosis into the Slowbro, and then from there, I don't know what I'm doing. I just try to stack my Berserker, but I get another Hypnosis off, eventually chip down the Slowbro, and also knock out the Mega Sceptile that came in midway through. From there, her next opponent will be a Hawlucha. She's going to knock out my Rapidash as I go out into my Cinderace. We're going to counter into her Stone Edge, which will knock her out. And then from there, her final opponent will be a Slowbro. Pyro Ball twice to knock him out. 3 times to knock out the Slowbro. And from there, we're able to beat down Erica, get ourselves the 4th gym badge in the game. Also unlock the game corner for us, so we get ourselves a Dreepy. We'll take that. We get a Toxo technically, but really don't want that. Toxo's kind of eh. From there, we're going to make our way into the basement of the game corner and face off against Giovanni. He's a gambler, man. From there, we're going to move on into the Pokemon Tower, clear through the Pokemon Tower, get ourselves the Pokeflute, and then face off against Silphco. So we face off against a rival. It's no problem at all. And surprisingly, Archer and Ariana aren't difficult at all. So yeah, this is looking good for us. As from there, we face off against Giovanni, beat him down on our first attempt, and from there, we face off against Chuck next. Chuck is going to be a pretty easy fight as well, as it is a really easy run. As we also get the Focus Dash from Chuck, and then from there, we're going to face off against Sabrina next. Sabrina is a double battle fight, which also has Infinite Trick Room and also Infinite Misty Terrain. So we're going to start the battle off against her using a bunch of priority moves. So we use Inteleon's Aqua Jet to chip down the Camerupt, bait out the Misty Explosion with my Tapu Fini just like always, and Obstruct with my Obstagoon, and it works out really well for us as we knocked out 2 of her Pokemon, which is my Inteleon. From there, I go out into my Cinderace against her Magearna and Glacier. Great call. From there, I Pyro Ball into the Magearna and then switch on my Obstagoon. I go out into my Berserker. Focus Dash saves me as I knock out the Magearna, and then from there, she's going to switch out into her Jellicent. I go for a Sucker Punch against the Jellicent, and it goes for Swords Dance, so I'm Iron Head into him, and it works out pretty well. Jellicent goes down to low HP. I survive a Water Spout with my Berserker. Go out to my Grimmsnarl to Sucker Punch once again to knock out the Jellicent, and then chip down the Glacier again. Go out into my Obstagoon against the Iron Hands, and Berserker's getting Bullet Punch and knock out the Glacier. I'm able to Baby Doll Eyes into the Iron Hands to lower his attack stat, and then from there we just gotta chip him down with my Rapidash and also my Berserker, and eventually I knock him out with 2 of my Rapidash's Play Rough, and we beat down Sabrina. As we secure ourselves the 5th gym badge in the game, we're gonna make our way down to Cycling Road and then head into Fuchsia City after clearing down the routes, and then facing off against Brendan. Brendan's a pretty easy fight. You know, Grimmsnarl is actually really reliable. It's such a good Pokemon, super tanky, always gets a head off. And from there, we're going to be forced to face off against the first 3 gym leaders in the game before Koga can actually let us into his gym. So we're going to face up against Brock. pretty easy fight. Against Misty's a little more difficult, but we got it through as Grimmsnarl clutched up again. And then against Lieutenant Surge, my Cinderace goes crazy and just knocks out a lot of Pokemon, and I have a Runegeist in the back just to save it. As from there, we're going to actually make a little more adjustments. We're going to get ourselves a Milcery, which is going to evolve into Alcremie, which is going to be really useful against the next gym in the game. Against Koga, he has infinite psychic terrain, so you can't use priority moves, which we've been abusing a lot. We're also going to be slower than him because he has infinite tailwind, so it's going to be pretty hard as we start the battle off against him using my Berserker. And now Berserker actually scares Koga out, so he goes out to his Toxicity. So I'm going to go on to my Runegeist to bait out the Krookodile, and it works out pretty well. As from there, I go on to my Surf Edge. Surf Edge is able to just chip down the Krookodile, eventually knock him out with 2 Leaf Blades. And then from there, he's going to go out to this Toxicity, which I go out to my Runegeist, dodge any move of his arsenal, and an Earthquake into him, get a free KO. And then from there, his next opponent will be the Tapu Lele, which I go out and sacrifice my Surf Edge, go out into my Berserker to bait out. I did not expect him to switch again, but he switched out to his Shiyu. I'm like, oh my god. So I break the Shiyu's Focus Sash, which is fine. I go out to my Rapidash to absorb the Fire move, and then from there, I can Hypnosis into the Shiyu. That thing does a lot of damage. Look at that. I go out to my Orbeetle next, expecting something else, but it's fine. I go for a Light Screen, and then from there, I can switch out into the Tapu Lele, survive a Focus Blast pretty easily, and an Iron Head to knock him out. From there, he's going to switch out to his Nidoking, which will knock out my Berserker. As from there, I'm going to go out to my Orbeetle and then double into my Rapidash to sack it because I know the Light Screen is going to go down. Then go out to my Orbeetle once again, Light Screen, and then Psychic again to knock out the Nidoking. Now, the reason for that is I want to set up Light Screen for the Hoopa Unbound, which works out really well for us, as from there, he's going to switch out to his Hoopa Unbound. He's going to knock me out as I go out to my Alcremie, and Alcremie has enough turns to knock out the Hoopa. As you see, 1 Draining Kiss and then a Moonblast to knock him out, and then a Draining Kiss into Moonblast to knock out a Shiyu as well, as we beat down Koga and we can move on. So from there, we can move on and face off against Price next. Price is a pretty interesting fight. Once we also get Dragapult on our team, which is going to be really nice. We also get a Choice Scarf from beating him. And from there, we can make our way into the power plant. And at night, after you beat the original Zapdos, you could get Galarian Zapdos, which I also got Galarian Articuno. It's cool, you know, it's not the greatest Pokemon in the world. I won't be using them too often, but from there we make our way into the fight against Blaine next. Blaine's giving me the fire type gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Cinderace. We're gonna go for Iron Head and then flinch down the Sandy Shock and then go for Pyro Ball. Just why not? Just one shot the Sandy Shock basically. And from there, his next opponent will be a Walking Wake, which I stayed in a high jump kick, survive a Draco Barrage, which, you know, this thing's pretty tanky surprisingly, and then Sucker Punch to knock him out, as his next opponent will be a Venusaur. I switch out into my Galarian Articuno. I get him down to his Focus Sash, but he's gonna knock me out. Go back out to my Cinderace, Sucker Punch. This thing's broken, guys. Knock out the Venusaur, and his next opponent will be a Great Tusk. I do get a Pyro Ball off against him, and then not expect him to not knock me out with an Ice Spinner, so I go for a Pyro Ball once again to knock out the Great Tusk. As his next opponent will be a Ho-Oh, which I kind of wish Cinderace has a 5th moveset. It would have destroyed Ho-Oh, but I'm going to chip them down with a Sucker Punch and then go out into my Galarian Rapidash to Wild Charge into him to get into his Phoenix form. He's going to Resurrect and knock out my Rapidash. Go out to my Zapdos to chip him down with Close Combat, and then from there I can just knock him out with my Dragapult, and his final opponent will be a Charizard X, which again I chip him down with a Dragon Rush and flinch him actually. So from there we knock out Blaine and get ourselves the 7th gym badge in the game. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Archer and Ariana on our very first attempt. This hasn't happened in a while, but on our first attempt, we beat Archer and then immediately beat down Ariana. So yeah, it's looking pretty good for us as we cleared through both Archer and Ariana and then face off against Giovanni. First attempt, once again, we beat down Giovanni, so things are looking really easy for us as we cleared through Giovanni, and now we make our way into the next fight against Claire next. Claire's going to be the 8th gym leader in the game and also the easiest one. We're going to start the battle off against her. It wasn't first attempt, but it was kind of cool still. I use my Berserker against her Shuckle to deny hazards. I go for 2 Iron Heads. She gets Sticky Webs up, so it kind of sucks, but she goes out to her Duraludon. I'm going to Metal Burst into him and knock him out, so that's a free hit. Her next opponent will be Eternus, which I chip him down and then go out into my Dragapult. Clear Body does not get affected with the Sticky Webs, and then Dragon Rush flinch down the Eternus. Should have gone for a Sucker Punch, but I missed. And then he's gonna knock me out with Dynamax Cannon, so that's kind of stupid. Go out into my Runegeist next to knock out the Eternatus. Your next one will be an Ultra Necrozma, which I go out into my Dark type Obstagoon. Don't have Sucker Punch for some reason, but Night Slash will do, as Night Slash would chip him down. He's gonna knock me out, but I go out to my Cinderace, which will Sucker Punch, knock out the Necrozma, High Jump Kick, and survive the Roaring Moon, and then High Jump Kick him. Okay. Then from there, High Jump Kick to knock out a Shuckle, and then Pyro Ball outspeed the Magearna and knock out the Claire. Yeah, you can see how broken Cinderace is, by the way. From there, I completely forgot that there is a missing Urshifu from my team, because Urshifu is Galarian, and I'm actually really happy that I didn't stick with going for the Egg Merchant for Kubfu. So lucky enough, I got a Kubfu at the end of the game and getting myself a Rapid Strike Urshifu. So at the end of the game, it's still really, really good. Same thing with Dragapult. Dragapult is really good at the end game. As from there, as I said, we're going to face off against a rival. We're going to clear through both our rivals on Route 22 and 23 pretty easily, and then make our way into a Victory Road, which we're going to face off against the Genesect Raids in here, get ourselves the Choice Scarf, which we really need. We get 3 Choice Scarves in total, and then from there, reconstructing my team. I was thinking about Dracovish really hard because it's a really good Pokemon, but unfortunately, if my rival uses his Sun Team, which I don't think is possible because he uses Water Team in Route 22, I don't think he could use his Sun Team, but I didn't want to risk that at all. So you know what, my team is still structured pretty well. It's obviously, you know, really broken. Cinderace, Dragapult, Rungeist, Obstagoon, and Berserker, and also my Urshifu Rapid Strike, so I should be fine. As from there, we're going to face off against the Elite Four next. We're going to start the battle off against the Elite Four using my Urshifu and my Berserker. Berserker is here just to bait and fake out, which works out, and then from there I can close combat with my Urshifu. Got frozen and all that, but you know what, still knock out the Iron Bundle. I also get a Metal Burst off against the Ludicolo to knock him out, so we'll take that. I got into my Cinderace next. It's going to Iron Head, flinch down the Dragonite as a Bullet Punch and knock out the Ludicolo. His next one will be a Genesect, which I was really thinking about attacking, but you know what, I gotta keep going for Iron Heads. Berserker goes down as he still U-turns into his Palkia. I got into my Dragapult next. Dragapult just barely not knock out the Palkia, as lucky enough Cinderace isn't able to knock out the Dragonite. As from there, the Palkia actually knocks out my Dragapult, but Draco Brush is going to knock himself out, so it actually works out pretty well for us. As we go out to my Rungeist, we're going to Iron Head down the Genesect with my Cinderace, and then the Will-O-Wisp into the Swampert, and that should secure us the win. It's a 3 against 1 against the Swampert. Swampert's really good, but just can't handle it, as we're going to eventually chip down the Swampert and knock him out. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Koga next, and Koga is a really easy fight. We start the battle off against him using my Urshifu and just deny rocks. Surging Strike to knock out the Infernape, and then from there, it's going to switch out to Zeraora. I go for a Surging Strike and then go out to my Dragapult. Dragapult is able to go for a Phantom Force and knock out a Zeraora. His next opponent after that will be a Zacian, which I should have gone for another one, but you know what, I was getting crazy. I went out to my Rungeist to Earthquake and chip him down to a little bit. Go out into my Berserker next to fake out into the Lucario, which you know what, I'm a Metal Burst him. Metal Burst to knock out the Lucario and then bait out the Necrozma. Sacrifice my Berserker as I go out into my Dragapult next, which will outspeed him, even though he goes for a Dragon Dance. So Phantom Force twice to knock out the Necrozma, and then Phantom Force into the Iron Valiant. Doesn't do a lot, but I go out to my Cinderace, Iron Head to knock out the Iron Valiant, and then Iron Head once again to knock out the Zacian as we beat down Bruno. No sweat at all. We had like 3 Pokemon in the back. From there, we're going to face off against Agatha next. Agatha's a pretty easy fight as well. We go for my Urshifu once again to Surging Strike and break through. It's deny rocks completely. She goes out to her Calyrex, which gotta go out to my Obstagoon, the Park Dark type Pokemon. So I'm a Night Slash into the Calyrex, and then her Draining Kiss never kills anything, even though it's super effective, and she's at +2. So we knock out the Calyrex, and then from there, her next opponent will be a Yveltal. I'm gonna sacrifice my Obstagoon. I'm fine with it. You know, it's not that serious. I go out into my Berserker, presuming that it's gonna actually switch out because you know I'm baiting him with Metal Burst. I go out to my Dragapult, baiting the Mewtwo X, which Phantom Force we actually get him, and then go out into my Urshifu to knock him out. Her next opponent will be that Yveltal. I chip him down with a bit of Surging Strike, and then she U-turns into her Flutter Mane. So from there, I'm gonna sacrifice my Urshifu. Probably a bad play, but I go out to my Cinderace next to Iron Head into the Flutter Mane, which works out pretty well. And then from there, she switched out to her Yveltal once again. I Iron Head looking for a flinch. It doesn't get it, but she U-turns into her Victini, which I'm like, this is free. I go out into my Berserker, Metal Burst bait to knock out the Victini, as her final opponent will be the Yveltal. I'm a Pyro Ball, which is a little risky, kind of stupid. Cinderace is able to Pyro Ball and knock out the Yveltal as we beat down Agatha. Now next up, we're going to face off against Lance next. Lance is going to be the 4th Elite Four member. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Urshifu to Rapid Strike, or Surging Strike, and knock out the Glimmora. He does set up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes, so kind of annoying. Go out into my Berserker against his Rayquaza, and then from there I could fake out into him, and then I don't know what I was doing here. Okay, bait out the Flamethrower and then double bait into my Cinderace to Iron Head into the Arceus, and then from there I got to my Dragapult, flinched him with a Dragon Rush, and then from there he's gonna knock me out, which is unfortunate. Go out into my Urshifu once again. I could have closed combat, but I assume he's not gonna stay in, so I go for a Surging Strike. I catch the Dragonite, which is fine. I go out to my Obstagoon. Obstagoon's able to go for a Double Edge, get him down to low HP, and then Sucker Punch to knock him out. As his next opponent will be a Melmetal. I'm like, okay, this is kind of free. Baby Doll Eyes, sacrifice him, go out to my Cinderace, Pyro Ball into him. Does not kill him, but he does fine, as I made a Pyro Ball once again. Catch the Rayquaza, which isn't fun, as he's gonna knock me out with extreme speed. Go out into my Rungeist next. Rungeist is able to knock out the Mega Ray for us with a Shadow Sneak, and then from there, his next Pokemon will be an Arceus, which honestly I have to sacrifice my Rungeist, go out into my Berserker to fake out Bullet Punch to knock out the Arceus, and then from there, do some chip damage against the Melmetal, and then from there, go out to my Shifu. I don't know why I went for Surging Strike here. I think I forgot about the Dialga, but Surging Strike to knock out the Melmetal, and then from there, I just went for Surging Strike against the Dialga. Lucky enough, I survived one Roar time and the Toxic for me to go for Surging Strike once again to knock out the Dialga, but we end up being down Lance just barely, and then from there, we're going to face off against our rival in the game. We're going to restart until we actually knock out the Kyogre with my Dragapult still standing. Lucky enough, we had flinched the second time I restarted, so you know what, I'll take that as we knock out the Kyogre. His next Pokemon is going to be an Arceus Extreme Killer, so I got into my Berserker Metal Burst bait, so it works out pretty well for us. We chip him down and then Bullet Punch him. His next Pokemon after that will be a Swampert, which sacrificed my Berserker, already did his duty. Go out into my Shifu to counter into the Swampert to knock him out pretty easily. As the next Pokemon will be a G-Max Eternatus, I sacrificed my Obstagoon, which I'm fine with. He does a lot of chip damage to himself. Go out to my Dragapult and it accidentally clicked Dragon Dart, so that was a mistake, but it still knocks out the Eternatus. As next one will be an Ultra Necrozma. I knock him out to low HP and then I survive a Photon Geyser, so that should be it for him. And his final Pokemon will be a Walking Wake. I outspeed him. 2 Dragon Darts will knock him out, so we end up being down a rival in a very fast and anticlimactic way. I didn't expect that at all, but you know what, it works out as we beat down Radical Red with only Galarian Pokemon, so we'll actually take that. You want to know the final time for this? 3 hours 39 minutes. What is that? That is an insane time. I'm not too sure if I had a faster time ever on Radical Red, but that is my ending time, and that will be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Ben Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day. I'm out. Peace.